Today, we're breaking down a huge new development in the high-profile lawsuit against real estate giant eXp Realty. A judge just made a decision that means a very serious claim of fraud against the company is officially moving forward. Let's get into what that really means for this case. This right here is the question at the heart of the matter for eXp Realty. A recent court ruling has given the green light to a new accusation, one that adds a whole new, complicated layer to an already very sensitive lawsuit.
So let's start with the ruling itself. And look, while this is not a final verdict on the case, this decision is a major setback for eXp, and it's a really critical turning point in this whole legal battle. Here's the bottom line. eXp Realty went to the court and asked them to just throw out a very serious fraud accusation. The judge said no. That means the claim is now officially part of the lawsuit and it's moving ahead. You'll hear this term motion to dismiss a lot. Think of it as a company telling the court, hey, this accusation is so weak it shouldn't even get to a trial. By denying that motion, the judge is essentially saying, actually, there's enough evidence here that this claim of fraud deserves to be fully heard. That is a major hurdle for the plaintiffs to have cleared. So how did a lawsuit about sexual assault end up with this whole separate accusation of fraud? Well, it wasn't part of the original case. It's something that was added later, based on what the plaintiffs say they found out during the legal process. The first lawsuit was filed back in early 2023, but things really escalated that October. That's when the plaintiffs officially tacked on this fraudulent misrepresentations charge, and that really set the stage for this recent showdown in court. So what does fraudulent misrepresentation actually mean in plain English? Well, it's an accusation of deliberate deception. It means you're not just saying someone was wrong, you're accusing them of knowingly lying about a critical fact, wanting you to rely on that lie, and then causing you harm because of it. And this gets right to the absolute heart of the fraud claim. The plaintiffs are alleging that XP was telling them one thing, that their claims were being investigated, while internally, the company had already decided they weren't going to. This totally shifts the focus from just the original allegations to a brand new accusation, a cover-up. So when this claim went in front of the judge, what did each side actually argue? Let's take a look at the two very different stories they presented. You can just see how these two arguments are polar opposites. On one side, you have the plaintiffs, who are bringing what they say are internal notes and timelines that prove eXp was lying. But on the other side, eXp is pushing back hard, saying they took the right actions by removing the agents, and that none of this meets the high legal bar for fraud. And this quote, well, this is a bombshell. The plaintiffs presented this note, supposedly from a call with XP executives, as a key piece of evidence. They're arguing this is proof positive that what the company was saying publicly and what was happening privately were two very different things. On the flip side, eXp has been consistent, pointing to its official policies and its actions. This statement really sums up their core defense, that they have a zero-tolerance policy, they took the steps they needed to, and they are confident that their legal position will win out in the end. So at this early stage, the court sided with the plaintiffs. The judge basically said their claim is plausible enough to move forward because the timelines they presented did not add up, there was evidence the statements were knowingly made, and, this is crucial, that they were said with an intent to induce reliance. In other words, to get the plaintiffs to believe them. So, with this fraud claim now officially in the mix, right alongside the other allegations, what are the immediate next steps in this whole legal saga? It's really important to note eXp's position on this. They're framing this as just a procedural ruling, a normal step in a complicated case, not a judgment on the actual facts. They are holding firm that the claims against them have no merit and that they are ready to vigorously defend the company. The judge has set a really clear path forward. Both sides now get an extra 60 days for discovery. That's just lawyer speak for gathering more evidence to build their cases. After that, they have to agree on a new schedule for the entire lawsuit, which, and this is the key, will now officially move forward with that fraud claim included. So yeah, this ruling is not a final verdict, but it dramatically raises the stakes. For eXp, this isn't just about defending against the original allegations anymore. Now it's about fighting a whole separate battle over their own integrity and truthfulness. And how they navigate that could define the entire outcome of this case.